We're so close to baseball that I can feel it. I can taste it. I don't know. Okay, that's getting a little weird. It's almost baseball, you guys. Hey everybody, I am back. I'm Tara Wellman and this is Birdseeds, and we are so close to baseball. It is almost time for pitchers and catchers to report. It's truck day. So we've got to be close. And in honor of being this close to spring training, I want to give you the top 10 things that I am most looking forward to seeing come out of spring training this year. So let's get right to it. First of all, I'm looking forward to seeing how John Mozeliak's "once we get everyone back" philosophy will work out. He's been preaching for a long time that as long as we have all of these guys back and healthy, the Wainwrights, the Hollidays, the Adams, the Grichuk, all of these guys who battled injury last year, as well as some of the rising stars within the system, that Cardinals are going to be A-okay. In fact, he was quoted as saying that it's like having a bunch of extra cars in your garage, but you only ever use one of them. Eventually, you need to get those other cars out and make sure they all work. I hope that works out as well as he thinks it will. I may be looking forward to some of those returns from injury a little more than others, and none more than Adam Wainwright. It's no secret, I'm an Adam Wainwright girl, and I've been surprised by how many people are pretty much writing Adam Wainwright off before he's even thrown a pitch this season. You know, it may be a blessing in disguise that he basically had to take all of last season off. His arm's gonna be in great condition. He's gonna have plenty of bullets left to fire, as they say, and I know there are some concerns about his health or his age or just what he has left in the tank, but I'm pretty excited to see where Adam Wainwright is and what we can look forward to from him back as the staff ace. Just as significant a return from injury is that of Yadier Molina, and this one's still very much in question. He's supposed to be in a cast until the middle of February, so how does that play into his spring training preparations? Good news is, he's a pro, he's done this before. He may not need the entirety of spring training to be ready for opening day, but will he be ready for opening day? Also set to return from injury is Matt Holliday, and I am very curious to see what he has in store for this season after Mike Matheny's prediction of a ridiculous year for Matt Holliday. I'm not really sure what that looks like. Is that a 30 home run, 120 RBI, 300 average kind of season? I don't know. What do you think? Leave a comment, tweet me, tell me what you think a ridiculous Matt Holliday season is going to look like, and just how early we might get a glimpse of if that's even possible for the guy. One storyline that's likely to continue throughout spring training, yes, but probably throughout the regular season as well, is that of who plays first base? Who's the everyday guy? Is it Brandon Moss and hopefully his rejuvenated power stroke, or is it Matt Adams and some level of consistency that we've not yet seen from him as he returns from injury? Or does Stephen Piscotty come down to first base on a fairly regular basis after kind of learning it on the spot last year? That is a question that I'm sure we'll talk about at length as the spring progresses, but I'm very interested to see what direction the Cardinals lean as spring training games get underway. Speaking of Stephen Piscotty, this is going to be an exciting player to watch. A lot of us have had our eyes on him for a long time as he's come up through the minor league system, but last year in the postseason, he put everyone on notice, including some of those other hot young rookies from, well, the Chicago Cubs, among other places. But can he repeat that success? Can he maintain that level of excellence on an everyday basis? Where's he going to play every day? How often is he going to play in right field versus first base? There are a lot of things yet to be seen from this kid, and one thing that everyone's wondering is, can he put up the kind of numbers that will allow him to be a middle-of-the-order type bat for the Cardinals, and is that where the offensive prowess is really going to stem from for this team? A A lot of people see this next thing as kind of an open and shut case. Who hits leadoff? I've had this conversation a number of times with a lot of different people, and I've made no secret that I would love for Matt Carpenter to not hit leadoff. Not because he's not great at doing that, but because I think his skill set would benefit this team more somewhere else in the lineup. But there hasn't been another viable option at leadoff. And now, Kolten Wong wants to throw his hat in the ring. He's made very clear that he wants a chance to be the leadoff guy. But Kolten, buddy, I'm gonna tell you, man, you got a lot to improve on before anyone's going to trust you there over Matt Carpenter. That on-base percentage has to be a little bit more consistent before anyone's going to give you the reins of the leadoff spot. So here's another option, one that Mike Matheny will probably never go for, but I would love to see Matt Carpenter continue to hit leadoff, but Kolten Wong bat ninth, so that perhaps Matt Carpenter hits more often throughout the game with runners on base ahead of him. Food for thought. Kolten Wong's a guy to watch in and of himself because while he came on very strong at times last season, he proved that there are still a lot of holes in his game, a lot of things that he needs to work on. Now, last spring training, he was the guy. He was the starting second baseman, no questions asked. This year, however, the Cardinals have fortified their infield, which is great. The bench needed that, the infield needed that, and it's been that way for a number of years. So, high five to John Mozeliak and company for going out and getting a guy like Jedd Gyorko. My concern, however, is, will this be like when Mark Ellis was on the team, and there was kind of this veteran presence breathing down the neck of Kolten Wong that made him really press and try too hard to be impressive, and it really led to some struggles for him in that season. So hopefully Kolten Wong has grown, has matured enough, knows that spot is his, unless something crazy happens, and that Gyorko is there as a backup or as a guy to give him rest, and not as a guy threatening to take his job. Hopefully. There are some jobs that have been threatened, however, primarily in the bullpen. And maybe threatened isn't the right word, but I'm curious to see how the bullpen battle breaks down, because there's so many guys in this bullpen right now that are in the mix that have experience as a closer, that have experience as a starter, that have experience at the major league level and have been successful for the Cardinals already. I mean, if you start at the back and move towards those middle innings, Trevor Rosenthal, you've got Siegrist, you've got Broxton coming back, you've got the addition of O from Korea, you have guys like Seth Maness, Tuivailala, who has shown flashes of brilliance at times. You have a number of guys, Walden coming back from injury, potentially, although he didn't have surgery, he just tried the rehab thing, which doesn't always work out so well, so we'll see about that. But the point is, you have all of these guys in the mix. Add in Tyler Lyons and Tim Cooney and Marco Gonzalez, who have all been starters in the past, but kind of have an eye on the major league pitching staff, and it's going to be a battle to have anyone new break into that mix. And really, the other thing that I'm looking forward to is what I look forward to every spring training, is seeing what new young stars are going to make their presence known at big league training camp. This is an opportunity for a guy like Luke Weaver or Jacob Wilson or Carson Kelly to make their presence known and to really wow some people within the organization, so that when that phone rings at some point this season, which it always does, they'll be ready. So that's what I'm looking forward to as we head into spring training, but I wanted to know what you want to know. So I had you send me questions on Twitter, and now I'm going to try to answer them. Daniel asks, what are your plans for opening day? I will probably be on a plane headed home from Boston on opening day. I will be working in Boston the week before at the 2016 World Figure Skating Championships, which will be a great event, but I will be exhausted, so I'm hoping to just stay awake for the game. Kind of lame. Can always count on Wes for a solid question, and he asks, with no Peter Bourjos, who can the Cards rely on to be an automatic out when stealing? That's kind of sad. In fact, Ben Chambers, noted Peter Bourjos fan, follows up with, low blow, man. Low blow. Yeah, hopefully no one is going to be an automatic out unless in this rejuvenation of Matt Holliday and part of his ridiculous season plan, he decides to try to become a base stealer. Ben Chambers also adds, a better fair question is, without Hayward and Borges, how will that affect the base running? I'll be honest, while Peter Borges is fast, and I loved watching him turn a double into a triple, I don't think he had the base running sense that a guy like Jason Hayward had. I think Colton Wong is very similar. He has some natural ability, he doesn't have a natural instinct about base running, and we saw a number of times where Jason Hayward's instinct saved an inning or turned into runs or any of those things that base running can do for you. So I think they're going to miss that because they don't really have someone who has that base running instinct like Jason Hayward did. Brandon asks, where will Carpenter bat this year? Well, again, I think that Carpenter would be great at second or third, but I think that the chances of that are not great because he's been so successful at leadoff. And really, honestly, as much as I love Colton Wong and I love that he really wants to prove that he can do this, I don't think Mike Matheny is going to put him there. So I think that Matt Carpenter will hit where Matt Carpenter has hit, and that is at leadoff. Stats Steel Card says, who are you most excited to see play this season? You know, I don't know if I mean, there are a lot of ways I could go with that. I'm really excited to see Adam Wainwright back. I'm really excited to see Carlos Martinez because the kid is just so talented. But I think I'm really looking forward to seeing the growth of Stephen Piscotty. I think that there's so many people that believe he can be so great that I'm really excited to see what he does with all of that potential and see if he can turn it into the kind of greatness we have seen people predict. Miranda asks, Moss or Adams or someone else at first? Yeah, like I said, I think this is going to be one of the most interesting questions of the spring. I will not be surprised if Brandon Moss is the guy coming out of spring training. Just because I think the Cardinals really expect him to be able to bounce back with some power this year, and I think they're going to want to give that a shot. We've seen what Matt Adams can do. We've also seen that he's not very consistent. So if I had to pick now, I would probably say Brandon Moss. Michael says he's excited to see what a healthy Brandon Moss can bring to the lineup. I'm thinking healthy Chris Duncan numbers. Interesting comparison. I don't know if I would have gone there, but I can see it. He also says the other curiosity is how will Piscotty and Pham do with regular playing time? I will be honest with you, Tommy Pham scares me to death because that kid has never been able to stay healthy. And to have him as the fourth outfielder on a major league team where you're really depending on being able to use him on a regular basis, even if it's not every day, I'm concerned about his ability to stay healthy. However, I think Stephen Piscotty will be great with regular playing time. I think that's what helped him at the AAA level, and that's why the Cardinals left him there as long as they did, because he needed that regular playing time to continue to develop as a hitter, and we saw how well that worked. So I think he'll be fine. I think Tommy Pham is capable. I just worry about him staying healthy. So that's all for your questions this week. Continue to send them to me throughout the season. And new this season, I want to try to feature a tweet of the week. So if you see something from a fan or a player or anyone at all that you think is great on Twitter, send it to me and it might be featured. This week, I'm featuring a tweet/Instagram pic from none other than the man I just said scares me to death. Sorry about that, Tommy. But Tommy, man, I feel ya. I am just as excited about the season as you are. Guys, we are so close to baseball. Happy Truck Day. I will see you next time on Birdseeds.